Hi, welcome to Lynn's Romance Reads. I'm Lynn, and this is my October TBR. So, it is officially spooky season. As a paranormal romance reader, it's always spooky season, but I get extra excited and I read even more paranormal romance during spooky season. So, I am so excited to talk about the books that I'm going to read in October. So, the first book, I'm going to try my first Why Choose. It's a monster Why Choose. Everyone's read it seems like, but I'm going to read A Lady of Rooksgrave Manor by Kathryn Moon, hopefully, this October. So the premise is it's set in historical times, maybe Victorian, maybe. And we have our heroine who was fired from working as a maid and ends up being employed basically at a brothel and is paid to have sex with a bunch of different types of monsters. And her kind of like accepting this weird role at this place and kind of picking her regulars, so to speak. I think that's the premise. So it will be my first Why Choose. Hopefully I like it. The next book I'm hoping to get to in October is Feral Sins by Suzanne Wright. So this is a paranormal werewolf shifter story where it is a fake mate situation. Our heroine, I believe, is supposed to be in an arranged mating with a leader in a pack, her pack or another pack, I can't remember. And she strikes up a deal with one of the other, a guy in a different pack, to say, we both don't want to get in these situations. We want to have, get out of them. And so the way to get out of them is to have found a true mate or a soulmate. And so they have this situation where they're pretending to be true mates and then they actually end up being true mates. So it sounds very interesting. It's been out for a while. I think it was published early 2010s maybe. So it'll be finally time for me to get around to it. Okay, so stepping a little bit away from monster and paranormal, the next book on my list is There Are No Saints by Sophie Lark. This is a serial killer romance where our heroine ends up in the crosshairs in between this rivalry of two artists that are also serial killers. And that's really all I fully know about it. It sounds like a really good time. I love Sophie Lark's Underworld series that I've gotten to, but I'm still working my way through her backlist. So hope to get to that soon. And then the next is my one historical on my list for October. So in September, I read The Taming of a Highlander by Elisa Braden, and I really enjoyed that historical romance. So in October, I'm hoping to continue in the series and read The Temptation of a Highlander. And so this follows a friend of our heroine from book 2 and one of the famous brothers. So I'm interested to see this series. We haven't seen much about the brother that's this story, and obviously we haven't met our heroine yet, so it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. Next is I think it's 16th book in the Immortals After Dark, Sweet Ruin by Kresley. I have been marathoning Immortals After Dark in waves. So when I kind of get to a stopping point, I take a break, read the next couple books after I've taken a break. And so I took a break after McGrieve because I loved it, or Dark Sky, whatever the last book was, I loved it. And the premise of Sweet Ruin, I'm just not 100% sold on, but I think I'm finally ready to dive into it. Kresley has a very rich fantasy world, and so that will play in well to the fact that it is spooky season and the fact that this is a more involved fantasy / paranormal romance. Okay, next is Tempting Auzed by Victoria Aveline. This is part of the Clatians Alien Romance series that I've been working my way through. The first book is Choosing Theo. And I loved Choosing Theo. So far, it's still been my favorite of the series, but the books are very strong and very cute alien romances. There is fated mates in it, so it's still in my sweet spot of fated mates, and so I love it. This one, our heroine had escaped from a facility where she was being held captive with a friend, and they were living off the woods, and they get separated, and our hero Auzed finds her, and they end up having a fake engagement, I believe, or a fake marriage, in order to prevent her from going to someone else that she doesn't know and trust yet. So, and obviously they are fated mates, so I'm very excited about that. And next, I'm not sure how I'll feel in being in the mood for this, but I've been working my way through Penny Reid's books. And so I started with Knitting in the City, and I'm on book 4, Love Hacked. I believe it's book 4. And this one, the premise is our heroine is a therapist, and she's notorious for turning her first dates into therapy sessions, and where her dates end up just kind of like going off the rails, and she ends up utterly unattracted to them by the end. And after scaring off one of her dates, the waiter at this restaurant that she always has her first dates in sits down and is like, so what's the deal? And it ends up being their relationship, and it's a bit of an age gap. She's older and he's younger, so I'm not sure if I'll be in the mood for that, but I'd like to keep moving forward in the series because I have to read everything in order, and since the series interconnects with the Winston brothers, I need to read it before I get to Winston brothers. Okay. Next, I have Nobody's Hero by Beck McMaster. This is a paranormal / sci-fi where in a post-apocalyptic world, there are werewolf-like creatures that have gone mad. Think werewolf zombies. And most of them have lost all their mental faculties, and very similar to zombies, it's a disease that's transmitted through biting and those types of things. And so our heroine has a deep grudge against this race of werewolf zombie people because they have destroyed her life and killed her family and have left her basically alone. And our hero appears to be the only male of this werewolf zombie creature that has maintained his intelligence and is not lost his faculties. And it's overcoming this intense prejudice, but also what happened and how is he able to exist and stay sane when everyone else hasn't been. Then I have The Sinner by Emma Castle. I believe this is a fallen angel demon romance that's fantasy. I don't really know much about this, but Emma Castle is a author that I would like to get into, and so I was kind of flipping through my TBR and I saw that and it fit spooky season vibes, so I thought I would try it out. And the final book to round out my 10 books, because more than 10, I'm never gonna get to my mood reading won't let me attempt to get more than about 5 of my actual TBR read, but we're gonna hit it at 10. My 10th book is Throne of the Horde King by Zoey Draven. This is the conclusion to the Horde Kings of Dakar series. This is the conclusion. I don't want to read it. I didn't want to read it when it came out. It's significantly longer than the other books, which does mean it's a time commitment to read it, but it's also the end. And I mean, we don't know when Zoey Draven's going to return to the world or if she's going to expand. I think we've heard that she does want to expand the world, but I don't want it to end. It also has a slightly different premise, because our heroine is half Dakar, half human, and we haven't seen any human Dakar relations up until this point. All of our previous heroines in the series are like the first ones, it seems, to mate with the Horde Kings. So it'll be very interesting. I've heard kind of mixed things about it as a conclusion book, and nothing real specific about how it is as a story itself. So I'll be interested to see how it ends. Anyway, that is my October TBR. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you've read any of these and what you thought, and what books are on the top of your October spooky season TBR. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, please like and subscribe to my content so that we can keep chatting about books. And I'll see you in my next video, which will probably be my September wrap-up.